we go. Going live now.
Guy,
Take two.
I think we got it this time.
I think we have it this time too.
You know what the problem was?
I'm an idiot.
You know what the second problem was?
What's that?
We never cheers, brother.
Oh, bad luck. Cheers.
You know, it is what it is, right?
Shit do happen.
That it does, says Forrest Gump. Well, here we are. We didn't even wait a whole week, and we're already up again, which feels good to just sit down and hang out. And
multiple times a week.
Yeah.
Do this as much as we can.
I hate this phrase,
Casey
but
confuses or confirms we are good to go. All systems green.
we're up.
You know what? I think that deserves a little bit of a
victory screech.
So, victory screech. If you're listening, do a little victory screech for us. And but yeah, it's our first fan engagement episode where they kind of send us the questions and they kind of direct the conversation. We've had a few people already input a lot of questions, and so got some good ones in there. But we can start off normal, and then we can kind of break into some questions if you want.
Yeah, I mean, we can either do what we've done before and sprinkle throughout, or we can just wait and do our own little, I guess, Q&A session. Or we can attack them now. It doesn't matter.
Let's sprinkle them. I think it's more fun to sprinkle.
All right. Well, even before that, what's new with you, man?
Not much in the past few days. Been fishing. Went out for the first time. Tested out
I saw that
motor that we installed.
Yeah, I got confused when I saw that, though, because I was like, I guess my invitation got lost in the mail or something.
It was a last-minute thing, but yeah.
But, yeah, so I'm holding my breath still, but go on.
Okay. No, it was last minute, kind of like you know what? I'm not doing anything right now. It's warm. I got to test out the trolling motor, make sure it works. And went out there and it was working. I'm like, well, I got some rods in the boat, so I guess while I'm here, might as well. And only caught the one, but the first fish of the season has been caught. It is in the boat. We are good to go.
How amazing is it that it has been warm here?
It's wild. So typically, we have a couple of days of nice warm weather, and then it gets back to freezing ass cold. But not this year. This year's been a very mild winter here in Delaware.
0 snow. We had the two little dustings, so that doesn't count.
I'd hardly call those dustings.
A lot of wind, which brings the temperature down.
It's always windy here, though, being on the peninsula.
Fact. But all in all, man, I mean, what was that, the Valentine's Day, and it was like 72 degrees here? It was amazing.
Yeah, it was really nice. Took Megan out to a nice Valentine's dinner last night because I was doing some training things Valentine's Day evening. So
take her somewhere fancy like the Chili's, the Outback Steakhouse. Where'd you guys go?
No, actually, we went to this place in Milford called Benvenuto's.
I like that place, especially the cigars up front.
I haven't done one of those. No. But we got super dressed up. I wore my new suit and everything. She wore her dress, and we kind of did it up a little bit. And, actually, I went there, and I've always wanted to try a steak from like a legit fancy place, like with a place with like a real legit chef who's gonna do it up real good. So I ordered a 20-ounce ribeye, and they bring me my food. And they They put it on the table, and I'm looking at it, and my first thought was 20 ounces, my ass. And I'm like, that's weird. And then I noticed I don't have a steak knife. Even weirder. I'm like, oh well, I mean, hold on. So I grabbed the knife they did give me, and put my fork in it, and then things just falls apart. And I was like, oh, well, that's why they didn't give me a knife. They just cooked it super tender, so I don't need it, right? So I'm eating it, but I'm like, man, this does not look like a steak. This doesn't look like a ribeye. Like, something's off here. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just an idiot, and I thought this one thing was a ribeye this whole time. I was just assuming the high-class chefs didn't fuck up my plate. Turns out I should have asked questions because they gave me it was like a short rib or something like that. Now, don't get me wrong, delicious. I was just disappointed I didn't get to try my steak.
Actually, now that he's listening, Alex and I worked at a steakhouse growing up when we were in high school, and that being the premier steakhouse of where the town we lived in, they served up a 20-ounce filet mignon, and most times you could just take your fork and just peel it off. It's amazing. But sad story is that steakhouse didn't burn down, but it caught fire, and I think they're going to be closed for like the next 3 or 4 months, so they can rebuild it. Great place. Like, I loved working at a steakhouse.
What was it called?
Texas Cattle Company. Fun fact: the guy who founded it, his name is Charlie Woodsby. He is the guy who founded Red Lobster. The very first Red Lobster ever was in Lakeland, Florida. And from there, he built it up to, I think, like 2 or 3, and he sold the franchise and made stupid money. But the family, the Woodsbys, own, I think, like 11 or 12 restaurants now and are mega millionaires off of serving super overpriced food. And I love it.
I mean, hey, let them live, right?
Yep.
Good for them. Alex says that salad Bobby used to make.
Hey, shout out to Bobby Black. Yeah, man. Elbows deep in the salad.
What's the story on the salad?
They actually had an amazing, to this day, it's one of the best salads, but life's different being served food versus serving the food. I'm sure you've seen the movie Waiting, and you would think like, oh, it's a gourmet salad, and you go back and our friend Bobby's elbow deep in the salad bowl, tossing the salad,
Huh?
I mean, just sweating
elbow
and just
deep,
literally just heaping it over itself, and you're always like, oh. And then same thing for us, you just take another bowl and scoop into a bowl, and you walk out and everyone, it's the most amazing salad. Like, it's really good, isn't it?
Toss that man salad in another bowl
every time.
All right, so let's get to our
questions. Chopping the salad in the garbage can. Shut up, Alex. You're giving away the secrets.
Might be some health code violations in that one. I'm not sure.
I love it. Yeah, you get the garbage cans mixed up too.
So I think the way I'm going to do the questions is I'm going to just ask one question from a person at a time, and we'll move on to another person. But we're going to try and get to everybody's questions. Okay. First question, we'll start off a little bit fun. Ryan McAdam asks, list of animals you could take in a fist fight. BD, we know you think an alligator. You can take an alligator at least 6 feet apparently. What about you? What could you take in a fist fight?
I mean, I definitely got a goldfish. Yeah, I can take a goldfish, a turtle, depending on the size. I guess are we fighting in the water or on land? I got a squirrel. I could do a rabbit. That's fine.
All day long.
House cat.
House cat will fuck you up, but you'll win.
So yeah, if you see the order I'm going in, right? Then we get to a dog. I definitely got like a Shih Tzu or something.
What about like a German Shepherd? You got a German Shepherd?
That's where I'm drawing the line. Like, where do we get to these dogs? Like, even like a 45-pound Belgian Malinois is gonna fuck you up, man. Let's see what else. Like a caterpillar is pretty easy, unless it was like a 6-foot-long caterpillar, right? And because they got like 40 hands, right?
I think at that point that's a snake.
No, caterpillars have hands.
Caterpillars.
You're right.
They got the caterpillar.
Yeah, they got those hands. They got those quick hands, man. What else? I think a bird I could take. Like a bald eagle.
You think you can take a bald eagle? You think you can take your spirit animal?
No, that's the thing. I draw the line on my bald eagle. I would give up. I'd just cry. Like, I got you, man. What else? A kangaroo would fuck us up.
Kangaroo, okay. Kangaroo would fuck us up.
Let's see. Where do you draw the line with birds too? Because like a rooster, or
Roosters
like
are vicious little bastards.
That's what I'm saying. Or a Canadian
but
goose.
I mean, at the same time, I would take a rooster.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
I mean, a goose. Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to bite you a couple times, But I mean, just grab that fucker's head and wring his neck. Just just like when you get a wounded duck, just fucking helicopter that bitch.
You're probably not doing that with a rooster. A chicken, yes, but I have a hilarious story that I don't know if I should ever share on
I
here.
was talking about a goose.
Yeah.
A Canadian goose just fucking helicopter his ass.
Even then, man, you've already shot it at this point when you do it. To do it fresh.
Oh no, fresh. I think we can totally do it.
But what about like an emu? It's a 6 foot tall bird, man.
That thing's probably kicking my ass. And I don't think I could take an emu.
Or what if it's like a pack mentality type of animal? Like what kind of like is this hand to hand combat or is this like WWF where they can tap out?
Oh no, this I take this to the death, and this also brings you.
Like I got like a skunk that sprayed me, and he taps in the opossum or something, and that thing comes and starts biting me.
So you're thinking WWE tag team champion style.
Well, I don't know. You just said fighting.
Okay. Well, in that case, me and you were the tag team here. Okay. If we want to throw tag teams in here, me and you were the tag team. What are we taking on? I feel pretty confident we could take on a goose and a rooster. We'll be fine.
Yes.
Or we might get cut a little. We're gonna get our shit pecked, but overall we're gonna win.
I always think of because I was even thinking in my mind what about like I said a goldfish? That shit's funny, right? But like in Pokemon, they throw out fucking Charizard,
Magikarp,
and then they throw out the fish and it just flops around. It's like yeah, but that fish grows into that monster that fucks everyone up. Like a wallaby, I'm taking for sure, but a kangaroo, I'm not. Well, it depends, man. You have like gray kangaroos, only get to like 2 feet tall, but then you have.
It's tag team now, right?
Probably another kangaroo, don't they? Aren't they like pack animals?
So you're saying you're saying
I don't think it's like a dolphin and a kangaroo.
So okay. So the second kangaroo is the second kangaroo its baby in the pouch, or is the second kangaroo a full-grown?
But that's what we don't know, right? Because as a surprise guest, that you get punched in the face, and all of a sudden a Joey fucks you up too. I don't know. Hey, do you ever remember? You might be too young for this. Jinko jeans.
The name does not ring a bell.
So Jinko jeans, look this up for anyone. They were blue jeans when like in the 90s that like goth people wore. And you say goth people because it's a very specific group of people that wore these pants that one pant leg was like a dress. And their symbol was a kangaroo with boxing gloves on. So they had these pockets. I'm not making this shit up, man. Their back pockets were like 3 foot by 2 foot wide, and that was one pocket. And the literally the print was a massive kangaroo hanging out with boxing gloves on. I always thought like kangaroo would fuck you up.
Oh no, a single kangaroo by itself probably definitely fucking me up.
Have you seen that video of that kangaroo choking the dog and the guy runs up and throws a right cross? Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. But the kangaroo was stunned because it wasn't expecting that. So I think with these animals, if I could catch it off like it wasn't expecting it, like do like a little, all right, tap gloves, come out swinging. So I can just tap gloves and just punch a kangaroo. I think we're okay. But for how many people say like, I could take a bear? You're not taking a bear.
No.
Mike Tyson said for $10,000 he wanted to fight a silverback. I get it. Mike Tyson in his prime. That's still a fraction of a silverback. So what animal do we take in hand-to-hand combat? Caterpillar, check. Goldfish, absolutely. All day.
As long as the goldfish, how big is the tank?
But what if it's like a goldfish mafia,
Well, I'll take it. There is not a maximum number of goldfish that could take me in a fight.
You say that, man, but have you ever seen hungry koi fish? You ever wave your hand over a koi pond and they all swarm? What if they did that? What do you do? You can't punch 45 koi fish,
What are they gonna do? Just suck me to death? Which doesn't sound too bad. But
hey yo,
awful,
sign me up.
What a koi fish doesn't have any teeth. It doesn't have anything that's gonna actually kill me.
Yeah, but then your back's gonna look like Michael Phelps in the Olympics when he had those sucker marks all over him. What happened to you? You're like, bro, you should have saw these koi fish. Dude.
We're talking about a fight to the death here. I don't care how I look afterwards.
That's fair. Oh, it was to the death. Damn.
Yeah, we're talking about to the death, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there is not an amount of goldfish in the world.
I don't know about in the world. I don't know. Take that back. There's a lot of goldfish in the world.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is if it's
Now you're just being crazy.
big ass, giant Japanese carp, and they get my foot and they somehow drag, and but then it would have to be a super deep tank.
You know how many people die from sturgeon?
Well, that's because they get dragged under.
They get hit when sturgeon jump out of the water and they land in boats. Put it this way. I'm being serious with you right now. I'll tell a funny story. Everyone thinks dolphins are cute, cuddly little animals, right? Oh, the dolphins. We did some training last summer, and I had these individuals drop me off in the ocean and leave me. In the morning leading up to this point, we were chasing 2 different pods of dolphins. And then finally, I was like, hey, enough of having fun. We actually need to get some training done. So go ahead, drop me in the water. We're going to practice emergency pickups with the jet skis. So I'm wearing a life vest, wearing all my proper equipment, all that stuff. I hop in the water, and I'm like, go ahead, pull away. I'll signal to you when I'm in trouble, and we're going to practice as fast as you can coming to pick me up out of the water. And just as they dump me off and they drive away in the jet ski, I look, and the pod of dolphins was coming to me. And I was like, oh, that's cool. All right, I'm in the water with them. I've been in the water with dolphins my whole life. And one dolphin from the pod split off, and it turned, and I was looking at it. I'm like, wait, is that a dolphin? Because the way it was moving in the water, its dorsal fin wasn't moving at all. And in my mind, I'm thinking, that's a fucking bull shark. And then sure enough, it finally started like charging, like a dolphin jumping out of the water. It was gaining speed, and it got from like to me to the fireplace, all of maybe 7 feet away from me. And it was so aggressive that when it turned, its wake splashed me. And I had a moment of like panic of realizing that there ain't shit I can do in this water against that dolphin.
No.
Even with flotation on.
Okay, but
that bitch is taking me under.
Okay, a dolphin's a lot different though. And okay, so I think when you're thinking of goldfish, when you get like super big, that's a damn carp. Okay, like once you get big enough, after a certain level, it stops being like a pet goldfish, and that shit turns into a carp. We're talking fucking from the fair goldfish.
Look what Alex just said. Tarpon. Tarpon get like 200 pounds. Have you ever fed the tarpon in Key West?
No, I didn't say I could.
You stick your hand in the water, and there's a video online of a guy blindfolded with a herring in his mouth to feed a tarpon, and the thing's at surface level and just reaches up to grab it and knocks him out, and he falls into the water.
That guy's an idiot. Okay, I mean,
we're not arguing that.
No, I did not say that I could take a tarpon in a fight, and I said goldfish. I said there's not enough goldfish. I'm talking those little fair goldfish that you get. Right?
Yeah, just gonna squeeze them all. I'm gonna fuck them up.
How many goldfish there are? I'm gonna fuck up those goldfish.
The argument too is, how about this? Like, I'm sorry, we're taking a tangent here away from fish. How many kids could you take? How many 8-year-olds?
Into that, right? So let's say you have third graders. How many third graders could you take on?
All of them. I will kill fucking third graders all day.
Fist fight?
Yeah.
Okay, but hold on. Are you taking them one at a time, or are you taking swarms of them?
Give me a number though. Are we saying like a class of like 30, or are we saying like 10? I'm being serious. 10 third graders. I'm killing them.
Well, yeah. Okay, but so yeah, if you're like a typical kindergarten class, absolutely, we're fine.
Kindergarten.
But we're saying how many third graders can you take?
I'm confident 12 to 15. Even rolling with my own daughters, though, like if I'm on the ground, I'm not doing anything, she jumps on my back.
You think if you were to catch a swarm of 12, of how many?
Yeah, 12 to 15 third graders.
12 would be the number that would take you down.
No. I think that's the point where I either get tired and realize, like, what am I doing? Or I'm going to have, like, some emotional lapse and be like, why am I kicking a third grader in the teeth right now? You know? But no, is it a fight to the death? Me versus Lord of the Flies. 15 of them I'm taking all day.
Absolutely. I think we need to bump those numbers up. I'm thinking like 50 at least. Like
50 is a lot, though.
50 is a lot. But you know what? I'm going to fuck up some third graders. There's going to be that one third grader that you can pick up by one leg and just throw them around and use them as a fucking weapon.
I mean, in my mind right now, I'm thinking like Neo in like, what was that, Matrix 3, where he's fighting all the Smith agents, you know, he's just running around punching them.
And you got to think they're close to knee level, so you just start kneeing them in the fucking face.
I could bump my numbers up. I was just being very liberal, or excuse me, conservative with my numbers.
All right.
Go more liberal. Let's pound the table. I'll fuck up 2 classes of 3rd graders at once. 69 I'm taking, yeah.
69? Okay, 69.
Hey, we got...
Oh, 69, yeah. It's 69 third graders versus me and Derek all day long. Like, yeah, easy.
Give me those points, Chow Chonka. Hell yeah.
And we're assuming they're coming at us all at once. Me and Derek back to back, like Mace Windu and Obi-Wan Kenobi in Attack of the Clones. Okay, when they're in that fucking...
I'm glad you went that road versus Anakin going to the Younglings road.
I mean, you give me a lightsaber, every third grader in the fucking world's getting fucked
You see
up.
that meme?
I will Anakin the shit out of these kids.
That meme is a virtual reality headset, and Star Wars has built this simulation, and Disney's going to allow you to relive your greatest Star Wars lightsaber scene. And it shows Anakin walking in. Like, Jesus, dude.
That... I mean, I would play the shit out of that level, okay? Like, are you kidding me? And you know what? I hope they have like those sliders where you can just say like 100, like, you know, and then you can pick them as how many enemies you have. I'm going max just to see. I'm just waving my fucking lightsaber around and I'm fucking up some kids.
But in my mind, I'm also thinking Step Brothers, right? Where the kids are fucking them up and he makes them lick the dog poop.
Well, that's because they weren't actually fighting back. They were being pussies.
Yeah. What are you doing on our turf? I'm sorry, Mr. Doba, or whatever his name was. Not
With that
Dobek,
white
that was the
shit.
dad. Yeah. I will not. Yep. All right. So where do we go with the animals? I don't know. I'd say mid-sized mammals. Because even watching like my dogs, one's 50 pounds, one's 30. I'm fucking both of them up.
Well, here's the thing: without weapons, a deer's fucking us up.
Yeah, because it has weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Razor sharp hooves.
Or antlers if it's a buck.
We don't have anything. We're smart and figure out how to make weapons. Be a best bet. I'm fucking up like a caterpillar.
I mean, money.
How about this? What's the animal? Sorry, I'm going to ask my own question. What's the animal? You are outside doing yard work, and this animal walks into your yard. What is that animal that makes you go inside?
Oh, definitely a moose or a bear.
Yes, yes. All right. No, like those are the obvious. Like, let's lower. Well, I'm being realistic here.
Okay.
You are by yourself in fucking Alaska. I don't care.
Gator,
What's the animal? A gator?
for sure? Probably going inside if I see one enter my yard. And I'm assuming I'm living in Florida here, but yeah, if one walks in my fucking yard, I'm going inside.
I think I'm okay with a gator. Depends on the size, obviously, and that takes me into my Florida man story of the night.
I'm picturing a pretty decent size gator.
A 12-foot gator comes walking up into your backyard, and you're outside mowing. You're going inside.
I'm at least going to the front yard. I'm going away from the gator. Yeah.
I'm going to climb a tree.
Yeah. Like I'm. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's saying right now cougar. 100%. Yes.
Absolutely.
No
shit.
I've shared those stories. I've been in the woods, looked at a freaking 170-pound cat in the eyes, and went, "There ain't nothing stopping this cat besides man. There's 12 of us. The only reason why it's not attacking is because there's numbers behind me." Yeah. Even bears, man. When I've seen bears and I've been in the woods, it's almost not uneasy. Like, there's just something in your own mind that says this isn't right.
I've encountered a black bear in the woods. I have not encountered anything else as far as bears are concerned.
If I saw a gator in Alaska, I wouldn't be scared. Because I said
To be fair,
Alaska.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it was in Alaska, yeah. I mean,
What if it's an Arctic
but
gator?
he's
I don't know.
Probably dead. All right.
But hey, this takes us to our Florida man story of the night.
Oh, okay. You got one. Let's see it.
Sound effects. Let's go.
I don't have something for that.
Beep, 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 beep.
Hold on. Let me find something.
Write it down, Alex. We need a Florida man.
Florida man of the night, sponsored by Derek's Bull Noises. There.
So I just did a quick search and I said, what is a great Florida man story? And it came up with the top 60. And the top 3 already, I was like, I know those stories. I just forgot about them. So, of course, I clicked on one, and here we are. Florida man story of the night. This happened February 9th, 2016. And the title that made me click on it says, Florida man threw live gator in Wendy's drive-through window, police say. So the story goes, West Palm Beach, Florida, alligator have been used as shoes, briefcases, and even university mascots moving forward now. Joshua James, 24, was arrested Monday and charged with assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill after Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Office says that he threw a 3.5-foot alligator through a Palm Beach County Wendy's drive-through window in October. He's also charged with illegally possessing an alligator and petty theft. Jail records show that he was released on $6,000 bail on Tuesday. He is also ordered to have no contact with animals. So I started reading the whole story, and it goes into that there was an altercation at the drive-thru. He just so happened to have a fucking alligator with him. And while him and the lady through the drive-thru was getting into this altercation, he picked up the 3.5-foot alligator, which likely weighed around 30 pounds, and threw its body as hard as he could through the window, striking the lady. Florida man.
All right. Well, that was our Florida Man segment brought to you by Derek's Bull Noises.
El Toro bull
Toro.
noise.
I remember when that happened. I remember seeing that, like that news breaking and everything. I do remember that story.
Sounds crazy, but it's not Florida. Hey, shout out to Florida. All right, so what else we got?
All right, so another question from old Faja, Aaron Crawford. What was your most miserable hunting or fishing experience? I think I know my brothers. I know Casey's for sure. That was when we went deep sea fishing and he got seasick and he was just, poor kid at the time, man. He's sitting there with his arms on the railing, head between his legs, just hating life. And actually, he caught probably one of the biggest red snapper I've ever seen. So Casey's sitting there. He's right next to me. We're towards the front of the boat. I think we're at the very front of the boat. Head between his legs, arms up. Dude's hating life. And his pole just like doubles over. Like he's got something on big. He doesn't even realize it though. And I punch him in the shoulder a couple of times. I'm like, hey dude, like fucking stand up. You got a fish on. And he fights his thing, reels it up. And he's got a pretty cool picture of but his hair is like just a fucking mess. You can see like the kid was not going. He was not going through a good time. And but he's sitting there smiling that he's got his fish. So I guess it cured him for a little bit.
Got that fish though.
Yes, he did. Absolutely, he did. It's probably that's probably one of his. But like as far as mine, I can tell you. So this quickly turned around and became one of my favorite hunting trips. But at the time, it was not. So it's muzzleloader season here in Delaware. This was last year. And I checked the weather. Weather was like, cloudy, low 50s the rest of the day. And this was an evening hunt, afternoon evening hunt. So I went out to the spot. It's a 1.3 mile hike to get from the truck to the spot. So as far as Delaware deer hunting goes, it's got some distance you got to walk. So I get out there, and mind you, again, it's muzzleloader season, and I make it. Where the spot is, I have to use a ground blind. So I make a little ground blind. I'm sitting down. I'm sitting there, and I probably sat there about 20, 30 minutes. And I'm just thinking, how like sometimes when you're sitting there thinking, maybe you fidget with your gun a little bit. I'm like fidgeting with like the safety or something. And I get to thinking about muzzle loaders. I'm like, and then the thought crosses my mind of the primer. I was like, oh fuck. Did I forget to put the primer in? Open it up, sure as shit, I don't have my primer in. I'm like, so now I got a decision to make. I can just call it quits right now, walk back, just be super pissed off and be done for the day. Or I can make the almost 3 mile hike.
Yeah. Go back, grab, come back.
Well, I decided to make the 3 mile hike. I go just for a little primer. I go get the primer and walk back. And I sit down and, so get the primer, put it in. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to earn that just earned something in my head. I think, I just earned a deer right there. Right. So I'm sitting there and I notice, I'm like, man, it's getting really cloudy. Like these clouds are getting dark. There was no rain in the forecast. I'm not dressed for rain. I'm not even dressed for like super cold weather. Well, sure enough, it starts raining and like kind of hard. And now I'm getting soaked. And keep in mind, it's like low 50s. It's not freezing cold, but I mean, it's chilly enough. And you add rain to the mix. Not fun.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, man, it rain's coming down. Now I'm like extra pissed. I'm like, son of a bitch, man. And I'm trying to sit through it. I'm trying to power through it. And I survived long enough to be like, oh, well, you know what? We're like 30 minutes to sunset. I got like an hour to hunt left. I've stuck it out this long. I already did that 3 mile walk. Just, power through, Well, sunset, hits, and I probably got another 20 minutes of shooting light left. And I think I see something moving off to my left, right? But I can't see because I got a bunch of shit in my way. But if I stand up, I can still stand up to where I can't be seen by what's on the left and figure out what's going on over there. So before I do that, I do a quick scan to my right and in front of me and like kind of behind me a little bit. I'm like, okay, there's nothing around. I can stand up. I stand up, look, nothing's there. But as I stand up, somehow I missed the fucking doe on my right. That there was a doe there. And she runs straight, like, so she's kind of like in front of me to my right, kind of out. And she's running from my right to my left, kind of towards me almost, right? So she's on the run. I've only got one shot. I'm trying to get her to stop. I'm like, meh. Even go like, hey, trying to get her to stop. She's not stopping. She runs into the woods, goes back behind me. Now I'm pissed, right? I'm just mad at myself. I'm like, that's a fucking stupid thing to do. One, how did you not see that deer? Yeah. Two, the fuck are you doing standing up? You know better than that, right? So I'm sitting there, and like I said, not at this point, I've got like 15 minutes left of shooting light. I'm just fuming. I'm like, well, you know what? This area, these things show up out of nowhere all the time. And it's a high traffic area. Just sit tight, stick it out, right? Well, not 5 minutes later, where that doe just ran in, I see 4 more deer coming right back. Like the path she went in, they're following her path out. And I see them. They're coming out, and they're taking her exact path back in front of me. So they're like, this deer's 25, 30 yards away from me, or these 4 deer are. And they're doing a decent trot. And I stopped them. Hey, stop. Well, she stopped just perfectly behind like these, like this, I won't say a tree, I say a sapling, thick enough to be like a little bit of an issue. So I had to I'm like, well, shit, I got to lean to the right a little bit and fire real quick because now she knows where I'm at. I'm like only 30 yards away from this thing. So I lean, fire real fast. And because of all, you see all the smoke, and I don't see the deer's reaction because of the smoke, and I have no idea how I hit her, if I hit her at all, So I give it a little bit, and I walk out in the field, and I'm looking for anything. And like I said, it's raining a little bit, and I'm not seeing any sign at all. What she did was, when I shot her, she ran almost directly, like a straight line away from me into this tree line that's probably about 60 yards from where I was sitting. So she traveled about 40 yards, maybe 30 yards to get back into that tree line. And the distance between where I shot her and that tree line, I'm not seeing any blood at all. No evidence that I hit her.
It's the worst.
So now I'm extra pissed. I walked like I walked almost 6 miles today, or I guess closer to 5. I walked almost 5 miles a day, missed a deer, fucked up another one, like killing another one, and I'm furious. And I start to walk back, and I call Jade just because I'm so pissed. I got to vent to somebody. And he says, whoa, hold on, stop, go back into those woods where you think you hit her or where you saw her go, and do a really good check.
Yeah.
Try and follow her tracks, and just a real good check, because you that close, you probably hit her. Okay, and it's just whatever, because you like how to shoot. If you're that close, you hit her. Okay, so I'm like, all right, fine. I turn around. I'd only walk like 50 yards at this point. So I walk back, and I go back to the tree line, and I'm looking after about 5 minutes of looking, I found the blood. So, and eventually I kept losing the blood trail because of the rain. So Jade actually came out and met me, and he helped me look for her, and we found her. So for part of the time, that was the most miserable I had been, especially like mentally, physically.
Upsetting too.
Upsetting. Yeah. So like mentally upsetting, physically,
yeah.
Kind of just wet, cold, a little bit, miserable. But then it quickly turned in a span of me finding a drop of blood. I was like, oh fuck, I hit her. And I know where I aimed. I'm like, oh shit. If I see blood, I got her. She's dead. She's close to me. Like, she's dead somewhere. Sure enough, maybe 20, 30 yards from where I was standing, where I found that blood.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Absolutely was.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I could double as like one of my most rewarding but also like most miserable ones I've been on.
I have 3 in my mind, and I'll make them really quick.
That was a long-winded story.
My very first one was my best friend at the time that was, I won't say best friend. I mean, I have like 7 best friends. My family right now is going through this thing where my youngest daughter keeps saying, "You're my best friend." And we're trying to tell her, like, you can have more than one friend, because it's hurting everyone's feelings, apparently, that I'm her best friend. But one of my best friends, his family got me into hunting, and they said, you got to come with us. So we went up to Kentucky, and it was our last day. It was freaking cold. It was like 19 degrees and rained the entire time. No snow. And on the last day, last night, his dad kept telling me, make sure it's a deer. And I'm like, I got it. Yes. He's like, no, because my son is just over that hill. And if you shoot him, I'm going to kill you. And I was like, I got it. It's a deer. I got it. And it's not even 5 minutes after he walked away. When he walked away, he scared a buck up. And this buck came jumping and stopped. And as soon as it stopped, I turned and looked. And it was so close to me. When I brought up the rifle and I looked in the scope, you couldn't even see the deer. It was so close. So I looked under the scope and just looked down the barrel of the rifle, which didn't even have iron sights or anything. I would have just looked at the barrel and went, if I miss this, I'm fucking dumb. Like, it's that close. And I just blasted it and took off running. And then so he came walking right back up and was like, I told you, wait for a deer. What are you shooting? And I was like, at that point, I had straight up buck fever. I'm shaking. And so we spent the next 2.5 hours, not even a drop of blood. We found a little bit of hair. And so we searched and searched. And it got so bad, we went back to the truck. And it was an old barn that had been there for hundreds of years, I'm sure. And they had a stone wall like you see in England. And I was so bored at this point. I'm fucking 14 years old. I'm climbing on the stone wall, like balancing, like, oh, like just having fun, trying not to fall off. Never found the deer. Not even like 5 days later, we get home, and his uncle called and said, hey, we found the deer. He did kill it. And we're like, where was it? He said, you know where you park, and there's that wall. Had jumped over that wall for protection and laid down and died right there. So the wall I was fucking walking on, the deer sitting right beside us. And so he cut the rack off and sent it to us. And my friend was like, hey, go put it out in an ant pile. And I don't know, like, yeah, because it still had like fur and stuff on it, And hair, fur, anyway. So we went and put it in an ant pile, and we went out the next day, and all the freaking squirrels literally started eating it. So my first rack ever is all chewed up. Never got the deer.
Damn.
So that was my most like memorable, because it was my first one. My second one is my last hunt in Washington. It was my birthday, so December 12th. I want to say when I went out for 4 days, the average temperature was like -20 to -25, and at night would get even colder. I slept in the back of my truck in the bed. I had no top on it, and all I did was put a tarp over it and put a buddy heater in there with me. And it got to the point where sitting in my tree stand was so cold that my feet were just cold. It's -30 degrees, and I'm in a tree stand. So I've been following this deer for 2 years on trail camera, and it finally showed itself. It was so cold, and I look. I'm like, no way. So a doe came in, left my bow hanging up. I'm fine. It's a doe, and I look, and he showed himself, and he comes strutting out. And what it was is there's a flat, a knoll, and there's an old bear barrel where people long time ago would hunt bears. Well, I used it because there was a great tree, and then right on my tree was starting to go down the hill. So even though I'm like 40 feet up in this tree, I'm only like 20 feet up from the knoll because I'm down the hill. So it was a great spot. Well, it came in, and my rangefinder died. The battery died because it was all cold. So I never got to range it. I don't know how far away it was. So I go ahead and take a shot. I'm like, I think that's like 30 to 32 yards. I got this. Wrong fucking pin. I miss, and I shoot underneath it. So the deer jumps. The doe doesn't know what's going on. The buck does. He takes off and goes like 60, 70 yards out and stops. The doe just sits and goes, what's going on? My arrow's sticking in the ground. And I'm like, what the? And I'm shaking, dude. I got buck fever. I'm all, oh, come on. So I'm like, calm down. I knock another arrow. I'm like, all right, he's going to come back in. And he did. He was dumb enough to start coming back in. I'm like, oh, he's fucking coming back in. Here it is. And then he's looking everywhere at me. He's looking in the tree dead at me. And I'm so shaking at this point that I'm like, to see me, like, I wish I had a video of me trying to hold my breath because this deer staring at me. And then finally, I'm like, calm down. And he starts looking under me, and he starts like snorting and like hooving the ground, like, and he's pissed. I'm like, oh fuck, man, this deer's pissed. You know, if he had some boxing gloves, I'd have to fight him apparently. But I look, and then sure enough, another buck come walking up the hill that my tree is on, and I look underneath me, and I think it was a normal, typical buck, but it must have been fighting, and it broke an antler off. And it wasn't that it was broke off. It was still majority of it was there, but it was a 5x2, and the 5 was monster. I've never seen this buck before. And I'm like, oh, and it's big bodied too. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I look, and there's another little like spike behind him following him. I'm like, what the hell's going on? This is December. So my dumbass, I have a climbing harness on. I'm in a stand. I lean over my tree stand and look straight down, and I'm literally using my climbing harness to hold me in, and I draw back, and I take the dumbest shot in the world because I wasn't fucking thinking, and I shot straight down into its chest. When I shot, I actually pulled left, so I went up into its neck. So I hit neck and shoulder, no vitals, and I was like, as soon as it hit, schwack, I was like, fuck yeah! Blood went everywhere, dude. And I was like, oh, fuck. And it screamed. All of them ran away. And there's probably like 2 to 3 feet of snow on the ground. But the path I walked in, I had used snowshoes, so it was crunched down. And I'm like, fuck yeah, it's going to run away and die. So I climbed down after like 2 minutes, and I take pictures of the blood, and I send it to a huge mentor of mine early in my career. And he goes, hey, that's not a kill shot. You need to get on that deer right now. I'm like, okay. I followed that deer on my GPS for 4.2 kilometers. I got to like 800 meters, and I found it underneath a giant fir tree dying, and I spooked it. And as soon as I spooked it, it jumped up, dumped the blood clot, and took off running again. Sent more pictures to him, and he was like, yeah, bro, you got to get on that deer. And like, realize every corner you turn, he's probably under a tree. So get ready, have an arrow ready, all this stuff. And I was like, all right, slow down. I got it. I tracked this thing for like 3.5 hours to the point where it was dark. And I realized I'm almost 4 miles away from my truck at this point. Like I said, I tracked it for 4.2 kilometers. Plus my stand from my truck was another like 1.2 kilometers in. And so I'm like, fuck, dude, I got to walk all the way back now. I never found the deer. I injured a deer. It was probably already injured. There goes my tag. I didn't harvest a deer. And fuck it. And I literally got in the truck, and I still had another day to hunt. By that point, I was like, I'm going home. I'm done.
Yeah, at that point, you're so disheartened by one wounding a deer and not harvesting it, and you're just, I don't want any part
Oh, and by the way, 2 to 3 feet of snow, bro.
Yeah, that's
I post holed the entire way.
Easy hike.
No, I'm in knee to waist deep snow the whole time. Post holing, trying to be quiet. An arrow knocked, tracking this deer. And finally, I was like, got the best of me. I give up. And the whole time, this was what's so amazing. The whole time, it was just blood.
Yeah.
The entire time, there's blood everywhere. I'm like, how is this thing not bled to death? The fucking blood clot was like probably the size of your laptop when it dumped out. I thought it was like its liver. I was like, what is that? And I went and picked it up, and I thought it was a fucking liver. And I was like, that makes no sense. And when I picked it up, it was a blood clot, and it just started like falling apart in my hands. Like, dude, that's insane. But, all right, what's another question? Sorry.
All right, next question. We'll do another one from Ryan.
Hey, it's super hot in here, by the way.
It's cooled down.
My daughter, for those listening, at 8 years old, took it upon herself to turn the thermostat up, which I did not give her permission to do. And we keep the house on 69. It was on 77 degrees.
Don't touch the fucking thermostat.
I'm sweating right now. But... All right,
It's
another
cool
question.
down. It's cool down. All right. Ryan asks, how many is too many skid marks in your underwear? I think like the easy answer is like 1.
I don't wear underwear. I don't know.
Okay. Well, so fine in your shorts.
Yeah, I'm not about having a dirty butt. So
Yeah, like, I mean, I would say if you have more than 1, or if you have 1 and you can't wash that out, I think that underwear is done.
yeah, it's a safe bet. Clean your butt.
Yeah. He's got a hairy butt. Don't ask. He used
Who's
to
that
shave
damn
his ass.
Sasquatch?
He's a hairy person. Hey, this is the guy that every time we would play there for a while, every time we would play beer pong and somebody was about to shoot, he would just whip out his dick and balls and like put them right next to the cup.
Yeah, there's always that guy.
That is him.
That will happen.
All right. Next question. We'll go from Alex. Fuzzy
Shout out.
handcuffs or regular?
Fuzzy.
I feel like fuzzy's the only answer. Like, I'm assuming we're talking about, doing the deed here. So I would imagine, like, I mean, who the
Doing
fuck
the
wants to wear regular?
deed.
Like, who the
Getting
fuck wants to wear regular
arrested.
handcuffs doing that?
Doing the deed, which is getting arrested. The cops pull out fuzzy handcuffs. What do you do?
If the cops pull out fuzzy handcuffs, I am automatically thinking it's a joke. I'm not taking them seriously.
I'm thinking I'm about to have to fight a goldfish.
We're gonna kick the goldfish's ass. Like we've already been over this. Okay. All right. Next question: circle hook or J hook? For me, this depends on what kind of fishing I'm doing.
Yeah, good call. Hands down, 80% of the time, circle hook.
Yeah.
You know, want to hear a crazy story?
Yeah.
So, once again, I said this a million times. Growing up, my dad was a deep sea captain, and got a few drinks in him one night, and I was like hearing his old fishing stories, and he told me the first time he ever saw a circle hook. What had happened is they're 100 miles off of Florida. And what they did is called long lining. So what you do is you have a giant spool on the back with like 5 miles of wire with buoys on it. And then about every 100 feet or so, you have a line that goes down, whatever, 40 foot, 60, whatever it is, and you tie hooks on. So that way, by the time you get 5 miles, you leave it out for a day, you circle back around to it, you pull it up, and ideally you're catching a lot of grouper, snapper, swordfish, whatever it is, right? And he said one time they were fishing and they had been getting reports that the Japanese were over in the Atlantic because there was apparently some great freaking tunas or something over there. And then they decided to start harvesting in the Atlantic. And he said, so they come by and they looked and there's a bunch of buoys with like some Japanese writing on it. And he's like, what the fuck is all this? And this is in the 70s. And he's like, well, fuck it. Let's see what kind of gear they have. Fuck yeah, let's pull it up. So he looks around. There's no boat. So they start pulling up their long lines. And so they hook it up, their winch, they start pulling it up, and they're like, what the hell is this? And it was the first time my dad ever saw a circle hook. They literally, like, he didn't know what it was. He was like, what is this?
Again, and it's depending on what kind of fishing I'm doing. If am I straight line fishing for like on the bottom, I'm probably using a circle hook.
Every time, corner of the mouth.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if I'm using a lure or I'm probably using a J hook.
Yeah.
Or if I'm like using like a worm,
Yeah,
like
I know.
using
It's
a live worm or like live minnows or something, I'm probably using a J hook.
Daytona cops. Alex said circles won't set in a snook's mouth.
Okay, well if I'm fishing for a snook, I'm probably not fishing that way.
But you got to think too, depending on like how many times I've just thrown out a shrimp and you don't know what, like you got a redfish, you got a trout, you got to, like, how many times have I been surprised? But hands down, like I wasn't kidding, about 80% of the time, the circle hook's going to get you your fish. It's amazing design. Especially like the offset part of it too, and the way it just swims in the fish's mouth. It's crazy. Excuse me. But the J hook, yeah, like you said, hands down for like my largemouth. That's using my lizards.
Yeah. Lizard King over here. All right.
Whoop, whoop.
Ryan asks, the best thing to put on your steak.
Peloton time, nothing. Because if it's cooked right and it's seasoned right, you don't need anything on that steak.
Yeah. Only thing
Grass-fed butter, man.
I will, I use, I'll marinate my steak, but typically the only thing I'm putting on top of it is Montreal steak seasoning. That's it. I do that and then I just cook it.
I will say, I do like the flavor or the taste from time to time of A1.
A1 can absolutely save
on the bed.
A1 can absolutely save a fucked up steak. Like it's got enough flavor to do that. But like the only time I'm using A1 is if the steak is fucked up or if it doesn't have enough flavor.
Yeah. Very rarely do I say steak's fucked up though. I'll eat it. I love steak.
Oh, don't love steak. Love it.
Would you eat steak or chicken for the rest of your life? Steak. Because there's different cuts.
Yeah, steak. But then you can also say right behind it, like, devil's advocate, you can do so many more different things with chicken.
I think I've asked you this before. If you had to eat one group of food for the rest of your life.
Pizza.
So Italian, pizza, pasta.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's so versatile.
Mine's seafood.
Oh, yeah, seafood. Nope, changing my answer to seafood. Yeah.
You fucking windsock. Pizza. Oh, I forgot about like some blackened mahi.
I didn't even think about seafood. Yeah,
seafood, dude. You got sushi, and you know how many variations there is. Just oh my god, dude. Yeah,
good to go.
Sushi. Yes, mine's seafood. Leo, come here. You want to get on camera so everyone can see how good you look now? Come here.
The dogs are definitely begging for attention right now.
Come here. Here, show your face. No, get up here, you lazy. Say hi.
I don't think he can say that word, Derek.
Say. Woo. All right. I thought he'd be more.
Casey says Hispanic food 100%. This is coming from the person who has a minor in Spanish.
Or we could eat some Chinese, and I get to eat this thing right here.
I think he's more fluff than anything. I don't think there's a lot of meat there.
No. All right.
Casey, I agree. A good paella will make your toes curl. I absolutely love paella. The first time I ever had it was in Rota, Spain, and I fell in love. But you know what? You can also that's seafood, or I guess a seafood paella is what that is.
Yeah,
because that's what
seafood.
Every time I get paella, I get seafood paella.
If you had to drink one drink for the rest of your life, except water, that's going to be like a given.
Sweet tea.
So you go teas.
Sweet tea.
So you have sodas, teas, beers, spirits, wines.
Okay, well, if you're saying
juices,
you're saying sodas, like sodas in general. There's way more versatility, so I'd probably pick sodas. But if you're saying one drink, like Mountain Dew or Coke or Pepsi,
no, because I said seafood, right, or Italian.
Then yeah, sodas.
I can't do sodas. Tonight, the splash of Coke that we have was the first soda I've had in months, probably, and like my teeth hurt right now. Coke is like, just know that it can clean your car battery, and we're just okay with drinking it. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But you're not wrong. Like Hispanic food, I had Chipotle today for the third time this week.
We had Chipotle tonight for dinner.
Where was my invite?
I figured you were busy. You usually can't show up to anything last minute. Also, you said you weren't available till 8 tonight. So
bullshit. If I hear Chipotle, all plans come to a halt. I'm their biggest sponsor.
Available until 8 tonight, so I assumed that you would not be okay for Chipotle.
Sorry, yeah. Lauren had to work tonight. Yeah. And I had the girls.
Why are you giving me shit then?
Because I didn't get an invite to Chipotle. I'm sorry.
You still want the invite regardless.
To Chipotle. Next question, bro.
All right, next question. Let me find it.
Boom.
What would happen if Bill Dance played golf and John Daly fished? So I think John Daly. Look at John Daly. The man's fished before. I don't think Bill Dance would be as good as golf. So
No.
I think Bill Dance would be closer. I'm sorry. I think John Daly would be closer to Bill Dance when it comes to fishing than Bill Dance would be to John Daly when it comes to golfing.
100% agree.
So yeah,
John, this is 100% a true, accurate statement. John Daly is without a doubt an athlete. To look at him and just judge that book by its cover, you're a fool. How many hole-in-ones has he hit?
I do not know.
11.
I bet you.
11.
Tell me.
That takes some athletic skill, ability, and not only that, commitment to a game. So to see that he's dedicated to a craft to hit 11 hole-in-ones is amazing. He would do the same thing for fishing. Bill Dance has no hand-eye coordination. He does care about the sport, but I think he cares more about the meditative side of fishing and the thrill versus I don't think you'd have the patience for a putt.
Yeah, that sounds like we agree.
And John Daly has the best scientific fact I've ever heard. Nicotine plus alcohol equals protein. Look it up.
Take your word for that one.
He said his whole college freshman year, all he drank was Jack Daniels and ate popcorn.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. Alex says, I don't think Bill Dance would crack a beer at 7 a.m.
Hell no, he wouldn't.
Probably not.
My man John Daly does that daily. My first set of golf clubs were John Daly's.
Alex also asks, what do you like on your hot dog? I'm super simple. I like just plain old ketchup, or if I want to get super exotic with it, I'll have a good chili dog with some cheese on it.
Bro, you ever get nacho cheese smothered on that ketchup?
I've had it like that before, but I prefer shredded cheese over shredded like a chili dog. I prefer shredded cheese in my chili dog.
Man, I grew up where I was melting American cheese slices over my hot dog. So now to know I can get nacho cheese and mix ketchup in that, and then even some relish now that I'm getting older, my palate's changed a little bit.
You've probably never had this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Have you ever had Skyline chili?
Skyline chili?
It's an Ohio thing, but it's sold in grocery stores, like the chili packets for chili dogs.
No.
It's an Ohio-based place. They're all over Ohio, but it's very much you love it or you hate it. And they got chili dogs, but they also it's called Cincinnati chili. Basically, it's spaghetti noodles with chili over top, and then oyster crackers. Again, you love it or you hate it. I personally, I don't care so much for the Cincinnati chili, but I love the chili dogs.
It's crazy how the older you get, your palate does start to change. Your taste buds change, if you will.
Yeah, because I used to hate sushi. I love it now.
I'm liking sauerkraut these days. When I say these days, I haven't had it in a while, but when you go to Germany and you order a freaking brat and they dump sauerkraut on it, I'm like, this is pretty fucking good. Or what about hear me out on this, blue cheese?
No.
You can't do blue cheese on a burger? Bro. How I came to blue cheese is working at that steakhouse. We used to sneak drinks at the bar. The bartenders would always just make extra, or hey, this person returned this drink. They said it was too burnt or whatever. And so they would take these massive green olives and pack them full of blue cheese for the martinis. And I was always hungry. So I would just walk up and open the bucket and grab blue cheese stuffed olives and just eat on those while I'm walking to a table. And here I am 19 years old. And I'm like, man, I'm liking blue cheese at 19. It's like an old person's thing. But now I'm at the point the stinkier the cheese, the better it is, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, bro.
All right.
Any more brain busters?
This one did something to my brain. Myth or fact? Then they word this into a question. Can dolphins fuck people? I guess fuck them up or literally fuck them.
Fuck them up. Yes. Fuck them. Yes. There's an experiment where a lady lived with a dolphin and they flooded a house and she actually lived with a dolphin. I think it was a Harvard study. And she found out that the dolphin would not let her train it and like socialize and learn with it until it was pleasured. So she realized, well, if I jack this dolphin off, then it actually like relaxes and I can go back to training. And this went on for a few days. She lived in this flooded house with a dolphin in there. And then finally, I guess the guy leading the experiment was like, "Wait, you're doing what with these dolphins?" And she's like, "Well, I find that it responds better after I jack it off or whatever." And he was like, we can't keep doing this." She's like, "No, I'm telling you, like after I do it, it's fine. This experiment is running great." And so he was like, "No, we got to stop this experiment." And so they shut it down. And it's like, there's something about like the brain activity of a dolphin and we're understanding its language or something. But she, 100% true story, man. Look it up.
All right. Well, let me guess. Florida? Florida
Could be, yeah.
Florida woman jacking off dolphins so she can train them.
And if I remember correctly, the guy who invented the isolation tank, he actually fell in love with the dolphin. Like legitimately, like pleasured it and everything. Like they had intercourse, if I remember correctly.
So a dolphin can legitimately fuck you then,
and vice versa, right?
And vice versa. I mean, because you can fuck anything if you're brave enough.
You can do anything once.
You can do anything once. All right, next set of questions from Casey. How are you guys preparing for the upcoming fishing season? Tackle, gear, prep, tips for cold water new fishers, and goals for the 2023 season. So for me, a lot of research online, obviously. And then not only that, trial and error as with anything. Like a lot of things that I learned a lot about cold weather fishing last year, or cold water fishing, I should say, last year. When it comes to bass, one of the things I learned is, the color red is supposed to work pretty well. I learned jerk baits work well. But I learned that the thing, about jerk baits, like actually seeing it myself and having success with it by throwing everything in my tackle box because we weren't catching anything. And somebody in the boat throws on a jerk bait, tosses it out, first cast, nails a bass, everybody else in the boat changes to a jerk bait, and we started catching a bunch of bass. And I mean, sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes you have to throw your whole tackle box at it, and if you still don't have luck, then go to the internet and figure out something else to try. And if you find something different, go to the store, pick it up, give it a try, and remember that for next year. So like this year, I've been buying lures that were working for me last year. Like I bought more jerk baits. I bought some white minnows for like in April. For like Ned, and like Ned rig styles, things like that. And then I buy a couple things that I want to try, or if I want to get better at using as a specific lure. Like last year, I wanted to get better at using the wacky worm. You saw how that worked. I got pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So, goals, I would like to break a 5-pound bass this year. It's gonna be hard to do in Delaware.
That's my goal.
I would like to exceed a 5-pounder this year as far as bass goes. I think that's a good goal. But experience is going to be the best teacher, as with just about anything. So get out there, start tossing things, and just see what works. Don't be afraid to hit the same spot multiple times with different types of lures. Don't be afraid to change up your retrieve. It's just a lot of trial and error, especially when you're new to that kind of thing. What do you have for that?
So I came into the season late last year, but picking it up as fast as I did and fishing as much as I did, like you said, red really works well. And then I started throwing bubblegum pink. This was my PR for last year, so this is a 3.79, I believe it was. But for those of you looking or watching,
was that at Silver Lake?
Hey, what are you doing, man? Anyway, so I'll post it if you need me to. Again, I've posted before, but that was on a pink bubblegum pink. No, trickworm,
Oh, trickle. Okay.
and I threw it up onto a bank, and I just let it flop into the water, and I just left it. And actually, I turned around and was talking to someone, and I looked, and my line was swimming out, and I was like, no way. So for this year, 5 pounds. How I've been preparing. This is kind of cool. A friend of mine for my birthday / Christmas bought me the mystery box. So I got 3 boxes of just random lures, and I've gotten everything from like Zoom to Guggen to crankbaits to deep divers. So I'm interested. My plan is I'm going to try every single thing that came in those boxes to do like the justice of my gift. Besides that, I want to start getting better at experimenting with things I'm not comfortable with. So a swim bait,
Like
chatterbaits. Chatterbaits is hard because we don't have really like grass here in our lakes, but you can still get that bite. Minnows, jerk baits, like you said. How about jigs? I used the jig for like my last 2 times going out last year. And it's like, why don't you use jigs more? They're super effective, especially if you know the technique of like it's a football head, then how you like drag it on the ground and stuff. And it's like if you know that stuff, like it's super effective. But here we are sticking to my traditional is worms, lizards, crankbaits.
And a lot of that is mental. It's because because if you start off fishing like something you haven't either done before, or maybe you haven't had the most success with, you're not going to stick with that as long as you would your lizards. You're going to stick with your lizards a lot longer because you're like, I know I've caught fish on this before. I'm going to stick with it versus something that you've never caught fish on, mainly because you probably don't have the experience with it. You're going to lose faith in that a lot quicker.
Frogs. You're the one that was like, hey man, we got frog season coming up. And I was like, I'll try it. So I went out and bought some like hollow bodies, some poppers, some just random stuff. And once you hit that top water action, it's hard to go back.
Yeah, top water is the most fun you can have bass fishing when it's on.
Yeah. It's a good time.
All right, let's look for another one here. Ultimate hunt or fish you'd like to take? We've kind of covered this before. As far as hunting goes, I think my number one right now is an elk hunt. And after that's probably a moose hunt. And as far as fishing goes, I really want to do something locally. I want to go get a trophy striper, and then I think the other thing will probably be a big tarpon for me.
I think a trophy tarpon for me. I've already said that. A queen snapper, already said that, and a rooster fish.
Yeah,
I've said that.
We talked about this before.
For mine would be an actual legit elk to hang on the wall.
Yeah,
like a good 6x6. Yeah, a moose. And the reason I'm not only picking these animals not for trophies but for the meat. Elk is one of the best freaking meats you can ever have.
Can confirm. I got the
moose
in Montana. Oh.
God, moose is almost even better, and it's so much. You can get like 800 pounds.
So much meat.
Yeah,
it's wild.
And even with some of these animals, like at least even an elk, I would like to take my dream elk, sure, but that young bull or even like cows, that meat tastes even better.
Yeah.
And then you have other stuff like you have stags down in like New Zealand that have the craziest racks you'll ever see. Red stags. I think that would be cool to take, but I don't know if I have the freaking capacity to ship that thing back. Right. I don't need to take an elephant or a giraffe. I'm not one of those people.
I have no desire for that either.
No, I think a crocodile might be cool.
I think so, there would be some cool predator hunts, like grizzly bears. That would be cool to be able to say you've done.
I follow this guy on Instagram who made his own longbow. Went out to his backyard, cut down the right freaking. I don't remember what he used, like freaking alder or something, and made a longbow. And he just got pulled to do a Kodiak hunt, and he took a Kodiak bear with a longbow. Oof. Dude, that thing had like a 14-inch paw span on it.
That's ballsy.
Because I think you're getting like 25 yards away with a longbow. Dude, in this season, he took a Kodiak brown bear with a longbow. Because it's like, what do you want to hit a grizzly with? Probably like a 30-06.
Yeah.
I don't see you using a bow.
Nope. I don't have that kind of. Nope, not that ballsy.
Yeah. Crazy.
All right, let me see another question here. Alex asks once again, do you change your own oil or do you let somebody else do it? Do you take it to a shop?
I used to change all my own oil. I always have and always will, except for my truck that I got is under warranty. So Toyota does everything. So I would just show up and dump the keys off. And I get that for, I think, 4 years. So I literally show up, dump the keys off, and I walk across the street to Starbucks. And about 45 minutes later, it's done.
Hells yeah. I have not always changed my oil. I just recently learned how to do that. But I'm going.
Dude, you save so much money by doing that.
Change it myself now.
If I want to be a millionaire, I need to start my own mechanic shop.
Yeah. All right. Any other good questions here? Let me see. What gun attachments are illegal that you think should not be?
I'm going to be very careful here.
Yeah.
Because I don't need someone knocking on my door.
Fed boys.
I think what we're doing is just right.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't know. I mean, shall not be infringed. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need F-15s. Speaking of which, dude, how about all these UFOs we're shooting down, apparently?
Oh, my goodness.
The last time we had an over and under on these Chinese balloons, and come find out they're not even admitting that they're Chinese balloons now, that they're unidentified flying objects. It's like we took the one in Alaska, Canada, and now the one, where was that? Freaking, was it Michigan? Where was the latest one? Yeah. Yeah, it landed in Lake Huron, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we do have actual audio from one of the radio transmissions from it being shut down.
Do we?
Yeah.
You're hearing it here first. Got him.
Accurate. These Chinese balloons, they continue to try and throw us a birthday party. They're a few months too early. The birthday party's not until July 4th, guys. So
yeah, thank you though. Apparently they got the invites.
Yeah.
Comes from China.
Yeah. So
China.
Thank you very much, China. We appreciate the thought.
That's a tough one, man. And I think we should just leave it where it's at, but I'm now thinking about it more. And I even saw that one posted too, and I was like, that's a good question. But it's like I have friends that have freaking cans on the front of their rifles, but they had to wait. They did the stamp, they paid the money, all that stuff.
They don't.
They all have their stamps, trust me.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's so dumb to think I'm literally making my weapon more safe, making it quieter. To think you had to wait 9 months and pay was like $450, $900. I don't even know what it is now. Something astronomical. You wait forever. But, oh well, right?
Oh, well, I guess is right. Yeah. I already gave my thoughts on it.
Yep. No, I agree.
Quick 2 cents. Can you live off of only beer? If so, for how long? No, I could not. Hangovers suck as you get older. So they suck more. The older you get, the more they suck. So my answer to that question is just no.
But that's a good question in the sense of how long could you live?
I mean,
you are broken down in the woods of Montana and you have a keg of beer. How long does that, because there's calories.
Are we speaking from nutritional value or a
yes.
mental value?
Yeah.
Nutritional? Oh, fuck. I mean, I'm not a scientist.
You would
know the answer to that question better than I would.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't know. Obviously, there's no protein, but how many carbs? I don't know.
Mentally, I mean, I would get sick of it pretty quick, probably.
Man, if those mountains are blue.
Well, just think about it though. I mean, if you want to just think of it as more of a practical sense, it's going to dehydrate the fuck out of you pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like, so realistically, not more than 3 days.
Did you hear the survival story of the two brothers in Turkey during this earthquake? That they found them alive and they survived a week by eating the protein powder out of a whey protein jug while they were trapped.
No, I did not.
They survived a week being buried alive in fucking just a mess of a building by drinking their pee, apparently, and eating the protein powder out of a protein jug. And they were uncovered and found alive.
The will to survive. We talked about it
Bro.
before.
I should just leave it there, but the more I read into this, it's like 36,000 people in Turkey alone. That's 10 9/11s.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And the stories that are coming out of that just are so sad.
Because it wasn't just Turkey. It didn't. It hit
Syria.
another country. Yeah, Syria.
Yeah, and they're claiming around 5,000 to 6,000 in Syria, but they don't know. It's not accurate reporting. But how crazy is that to eat a tub of whey protein powder?
Well, I mean, I guess your only alternative is to starve to death.
Yeah, but I mean, it has everything you need.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
No,
Just-
I'm saying like if you like, as long as you don't want to die, as long as you don't want to starve to death, then yeah, you're gonna do that.
Could you go the rest of your life without chewing food?
I mean, yeah,
I did this.
I wouldn't want to. I would hate it, but yeah.
I met this individual who is from New Zealand, and we spent some time together. And I noticed one day that he always had a shake. And so we were quite a few days into this, and I was like, I gotta ask you, man. Like, I've never seen, like, even at the chow hall, like, all you do is drink shakes. And he said he's been doing it for 10 years. That he was diagnosed with this thing that he's got going on with his stomach, where his digestion system was messed up. But all he did was drink shakes. And I'm thinking, like, what kind of life is that to like not chew a steak? I mean, he's fine. He seemed happy, right? But it's like the pleasure of biting into like
It is.
anything.
Yeah.
That first bite of a hot, Krispy Kreme donut.
I mean, how else are you gonna hush your pizza when you
The pizza rolls, dude. Ah, it's cold. Ah, I nuked my mouth.
Oh, I mean, not even just like a freshly delivered pizza that's like fresh out of the oven. You take that first bite.
Isn't it crazy? That's a fine skill you learn over years of torching your tongue to know how to perfectly hold it in your teeth, so your teeth can take the fire while you breathe on it before you swallow. It's such a skill.
It is. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the night. That's about all the questions we got that I think we're going to talk about. After a few technical difficulties, we figured out.
We made it.
We made it. We figured it out. And so I think all of our shows from now on will be live, or they will be on YouTube. Follow us at The Outsiders. The actual handle is The Outsiders 69. You can also follow us on Facebook, The Outsiders Facebook page, or follow me on TikTok, where I'll be posting some of our videos and things that we're going to be creating and whatnot. Crawdaddy 40. So, also like this video, subscribe to the page if you enjoyed this, because we will be having more coming. Derek, do you have anything?
Is our name really The Outsider 69?
Well, when it comes to like our actual handle.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, The Outsiders 69. The actual page is just The Outsiders, but yeah, The Outsiders 69. It had like The Outsiders 468, so whatever, all that crap, and then I'm like, no, fuck that. Outsiders 69.
Good.
Made an executive decision on that one. I didn't think you'd be upset.
No, I thought I was like, nah.
All right, guys.
On that note,
thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
out.
See ya.